with Sugarmoon. How you guys all doing? I hope that you guys are all having a beautiful day, night, wherever you guys may be in the world, and I hope that you guys are taking care of your energy as such. It has been a bit since I last posted. There's a reason why. I did kind of mention it within my Instagram last time within my recent post. Of course, whenever I start a video, there's always dogs barking. But anywho, I did make a mention that I took a step back. I was guided to take some steps back in order, out of respect for what is going on in the world right now. Let's just say there's a lot of healing that needs to be done on all ends right now. And this is a time very important where it is the time to take action to make change, but it's also a time to as well step back and to go within, kind of reassess everything, you know? Now, I always mention about going within all the time. Like, it's, you'll always hear me talk about that within this channel. However, like, what I'm referring to is really, like, within the last video that I posted was, I take full accountability for my actions. That is a very important message right now that Spirit is trying to stress right now, at this current point in time. It's not about what you're saying, not about what you're doing. Spirit doesn't matter, they don't care. The universe doesn't care what you say or do. What they care, because, you know, we all know that actions will have consequences, that's a given. But what Spirit does care is about your intentions about everything behind all of this. And if your intentions are in a good place right now, then you're doing pretty good. A lot of karmic rewards are heading your way as well, like for, you know, success. But, you know, you get what you put out there. And if you are using manipulative, egotistic type of more so intentions wise, right? Because somebody can be completely a tyrant and say the meanest shit, but deep down inside they can have the best intentions, but it comes out wrong. Vice versa, white butterfly. Someone can, because I am talking about ego death right now. An airplane. Higher ascension and travel. Anywho, so I'm just allowing myself to channel freely without any holdback, because normally I like to hold back on a lot of my gifts, and that's something that I've been working on with Spirit, about accepting my gifts as a whole and not holding back, and quit having so much full control over things, right? Because Pluto retrograde, that's something that's really going to teach us right now, is to release control. But as I was saying about the ego death thing, vice versa, someone can be completely nice one way, outwardly, do all the things correct, yet have the most negative intentions. Now, the thing is that what I'm getting at is kind of like that crow notion, that if you guys are seeing crows or receiving crow signs, I've always talked about this within previous videos, you know, birds meaning higher perspective. But crows, typically, they're depicted as death sign, right? It kind of goes into the ego death, but for native culture, it represents what is right and what is wrong. And Spirit is saying, yeah, there is a difference between right and wrong. It's important to know that, right? I hope everyone knows that. But unfortunately, not a lot of people do. Okay? Everybody's moral compass is completely different, right? And you have to respect that. But one thing for sure is that Spirit is saying it's not about what is right and what is wrong right now. It's about your intentions behind it all. What are your intentions? You know? Are you doing it for self? Are you doing it for others? Are you doing it for yourself and others? You know, it just depends, right? And the thing is like, it depends on the perspective, right? So the thing is that this ties into overall the message that I'm gonna get at for later today. And if I seem very serious today, it's not like, let's just say between the time periods of the last time I posted to now, I always say that, like, knowing me, I don't have a set schedule. I don't work on set schedules. I work on my own beat of my drum, you know, that's just me. But one thing for sure is that every time I take a step back, the step back approach, right, in a healthy manner, that is when I'm able to gather the most insights and the more answers that I find, typically. So, little lesson in that right now is what I'm trying to say. So, right now, animal totems, I'm going to skip the astrology part because if you guys haven't seen my astrology videos, that will be mentioned within the box below, etc. And as well as my channel, so you guys can find it on there, alright? So animals to look out for are fish, elephants, especially with elephants with the trunk up. But first, I'm gonna list them out and then go through them. Owls, deer, starfish, lions, tigers, and cheetahs, dolphins and whales, dogs, wolves, and foxes, and butterflies. So we've already had some appearances of some of the spirit animals within the video, so that's funny. But fish represents that abundance, wealth, prosperity thing, as well as the 777 energy you possibly been seeing, which is great luck. Okay, and fish also represents Mars being in Pisces, which is all about us diving deeper into our emotions, being more with that water energy. If you keep up with me on Instagram, I talk about the importance of water and how that is a significance, like as far as element wise, fire and water, like fire and ice, is making its appearance right now as far as element wise, like the most. Okay, so yeah, fish is all about diving deep in that Pisces energy, right? Going through that dream state, going through the illusions. But also, Pisces upside down unbalanced can represent a victim consciousness, a victim mindset. I will tie into that a little bit later. But it's very important because that kind of ties into, if you guys have seen my Karpman triangle video, you guys can find that within my channel, but Karpman triangle, that kind of explains a little bit of what victim mentality is kind of like, kind of brushes through it just a little bit, as well as persecutor and rescuer roles. But I think that's very important around this time to watch as far as message wise. So okay, so elephant trunk up. What I mean by trunk up, there's a notion that, like, in my family lineage, especially my grandma, yeah, even her name symbolizes it, but I'm gonna protect her privacy. I like to protect a lot of my people I care about's privacy and everything like that, so don't feel weirded out if I don't give too much detail about my personal life as far as family, etc. That's just how I am. I'm a very private person. But anywho, to a degree. But the elephant trunk up is something that my grandmother used to say to me that is very a good luck sign, right? You do not want to typically see an elephant with a trunk down. Now, I'm not saying that it means like it's a bad omen or anything, but typically when the trunk is up, it's a sign of wealth and good luck. It kind of ties into that fish energy, which is funny how I'm kind of tying them together right now, back to back, but it also represents protection. It's kind of like if you connect with the, oh my gosh, that deity Ganesh is coming through. Okay, what is that, Hinduism? Hindu? Ganesh. Yeah, he's coming through. So if you guys know about that, that is something that's coming through. And the elephants have a reputation to them where, yeah, they're gentle giants as well, but I did make mention within previous videos that they also have a flip switch. So it's like they're balanced between their dark and light qualities in a way. So it's like they're strong but also skittish, it's like that balance. Like they know the difference between using soft power and hard power. And but the trunk up symbolization, pay attention that if you're seeing elephants specifically with their trunk up, it's a good sign that spirit is around saying, hey, strength and good luck. Like, it's important to keep up your strength, keep up the courage and everything like that. You can power through, as well as being gentle all at once, right? You don't have to be a hard ass, if that makes sense. So there's, like, it's in a way to say that there's healthier ways in order to go about certain things, like certain ways, right? It's all about, yeah, so it's like there's certain, like, healthier ways that you can go about it. So owls are, yes, represent higher knowledge and that high priestess energy. So I feel like there's a message coming through as well, like something is being delivered on the horizon, which includes most of the wings and feathers and bird synchronicities that you've been getting. I also am wearing I was guided to wear an eagle shirt, which is funny. It's all about higher perspective. Very sacred animal, as well as protection and guidance. Okay. And to see above the storm, really. Yeah. So the owls represent, again, that high priestess energy, as well as nocturnal, so I feel like something to do with the nighttime or the evening time has significance to it. And this kind of ties into like the dark night of the soul that everybody's kind of going through. I think massively, like the collective, especially that I've been tapping into, is spirit. They're really going through a Kundalini awakening on top of, spiritual awakening, kind of same thing. And then the dark night of the soul process. And that's not a very fun process. That kind of ties into the butterfly energy. And it's that ego death, and it can be quite painful, especially if you are not understanding of what's going on. Like sometimes we're caught in that illusionment, fear-like state that we can't really see the bigger picture of it all. So then we have some clouded judgment, right? But it's important again to tap into that ego spirit in order to see from a different perspective. Okay. So starfish, it represents that star energy as well as coming home to oneself. Right, especially for the twin flame journey. If you're on the twin flame journey, resonate with that, or soulmate, coming home to a higher like level soulmate, etc. As well as like shining your light brightly, star seeds, etc. Like star seeds are being like extra needed around this time. Both indigo, crystal, rainbow children, as well as like, those from different galaxy systems like Pleiadians, Arcturians, Mintonkins, Atlantis, people from ancient Kemet, Lemuria, just many different areas, right? So a lot of like older souls are coming through right now, and much needed, right? Especially with everything that's going on, especially to help heal, especially my light workers are coming through as well. And I feel for you empaths who are very affected by the energy of everything right now, because if you're really sensitive, it's important to really ground your energy, like really stay on top of your self-care, like going on walks or going outside and planting your feet on the ground or taking spiritual baths and stuff. I need to stay more on top of it and everything, because personally, since the full moon and the lunar eclipse came by, I've been going through it. But the thing is that it's important not to fight it, to let it out, to purge it out, don't like let it go in a way. So anything that is brought up to the surface that is triggering of you in a certain way, especially mad triggers, right, and certain tower moments, just take it with grace, and try not to see it as a punishment, because spirit and the universe is trying to make this very clear. We're not trying to punish you in any sort of way, and if you think so, then that is seen from a more fear-based mentality or more of ego-based mentality. To see it from a more loving standpoint is to know that not only was it a lesson in order to be like learned during that time, but it's also something to take with you as far as like to help you on your soul ascension journey, And it's not to see it as mistakes, etc. Like not to count your mistakes or to be hard on yourself, right? Now I know a lot of people are like that, especially those who deal with mental health department, etc. Especially with the dark night of the soul, that is when we truly are like most of our, what we say, ugly side. I don't really see it as ugly. I see our shadow side as very beautiful and something that we most need. But if we were going to say something, like we're not really our best selves in a way, or our most grounded selves is what I would say, But I think that once you're able to integrate that and heal that, rather than fighting your shadow side, because people automatically go into fight mode, and the more you fight it, the more harsher it gets, right? You need your shadow side, so it's all about that integration phase right now. Okay, so this is definitely for my star seeds, etc. That's definitely for you if you're tied into starfishes, right? And rejuvenation. So I mentioned of lion, tigers, and cheetahs, like cat energy representing divine feminine energy, and dogs and canine representing divine masculine. So especially tigers and cheetahs, especially for the divine feminine energy, I've been seeing that a lot. So I'm seeing that you guys are integrating and balancing out your divine masculine energy within you. Vice versa with the divine masculines, like they're learning to integrate, like especially with the fox energy, learning to integrate divine feminine energy as well. But like, yeah, so they're making their appearance now. And the thing is like, it's like the cat energy is all about the independence, claiming your independence, knowing your power, knowing your worth, especially for my divine feminines, like taking your power back in a, I would say in a healthy manner, not in a karmic-like manner, Being able to stand in your truth, being able to speak your truth, being able to receive when needed, be able to give when needed, to balance out, to ground things into the 3D, right? Because one thing that Divine Feminines, we have a hard time doing is grounding things from the 5D into the 3D into the physical, because of the fact that we're kind of stuck in the ethers a lot of the times, especially with the higher chakras. But when it comes to like the Divine Masculines, they're able to manifest really well, like from the 5D to the 3D. They're great alchemists and manifestors and everything. So a lot of alchemists, a lot of alchemy. Transmutation is a huge theme right now. Transmuting that pain and those experiences into something else, like creative endeavors, projects, things that you love, things that make you happy, you know. It's kind of like that notion of like when you're sad, you're feeling sad, dance it away, you know, dance it out. In fact, just recently there was a storm that hit this area not too long ago. When is that ever not happening? But it's symbolic for especially Mother Oya, like that Orisha like energies coming through as well. And Mother Oba. I'm talking about Orishas, which is a Yoruba like Ifa type of thing. Anywho, a storm hit through, right? And instead of like being scared and like, ugh, you know, storm, it's raining, it was a lot of thunder and lightning, I decided like, I just let go, and for some reason I just started to dance. Like I just danced around in my room when thunder and lightning was going on. I opened up the window and everything and just boom, like, and I was dancing, twirling, dancing to my own tune, no music included, just making my own music in my mind. But it was the most freeing I felt in a long time, and it was like that release factor, like to release and transmute it into a different form, something that you normally wouldn't do, right? So a lot of people like to say physical transmutation is very great, especially if you know, want to transmute it in physical activities such as yoga, right? Meditation, and like endurance or like exercising, you know, that type of thing, or dancing, which are great forms of transmutation. But there's other forms such as, you know, that doesn't require such physical, you know, means. But if you're someone who deals with anxiety or have high bouts of anxiety, like energy, and you don't know where to put it, it's very advisable to use those physical outlets in order to transmute it, but don't abuse it, don't overdo it to the point where you create an addiction out of it, right? Because you do not want to, you want to create balance, right? So it's like when you transmute it, a lot of the times, us like Divine Feminines and Divine Masculines have a hard time with addiction like things. So typically when we get so comfortable and used to transmuting it and putting it in one way, it becomes quite obsessive, right? So it's important to like balance it out. So when you're doing physical activity, you're done with that and exerting your body physically, it's important to strengthen the mind as well. So reading up on books, doing reading, possibly reading books you've never thought to read, right? Especially for my starseeds, go ahead and like look at some literature, right? Connect with some old literature, old books, etc. Get some old information out there, and you guys can definitely access that through the library. But right now, since everything is going on in the world, we're kind of having to make do with what we have right now. So Spirit saying you have everything you need at your fingertips. It just takes a little bit for you to find it. So give a little bit of effort, like especially if you have the internet at your fingertips, right? And you're watching this on here, like right now. Go ahead and do some research in order to help fulfill your mind, as well as like possibly do creative endeavors like drawing, right? I do a lot of channeled art on here, which is like another form of transmutation. Some people like to do clay, ceramics, you know, different forms of art. Like some people like to play music, like a lot of Divine Masculines like to connect with music, write music, everything. They play the guitar, like the drums, whatever instrument, like they play piano, whatever, violin, you know, cello, I don't know, it doesn't matter, flute, doesn't matter, all of it, even the triangle. Okay, shout out to people who play the triangle. You're cool. But yeah, so they're learning to connect that and transmute that energy into something else, more creative endeavors. So now's the time to really start diving deeper into those aspects, right? Especially if you also Spirit saying, especially if you have gifts and stuff like that, maybe working on strengthening your clairs, like your clairsentient, your clairaudient, your clairvoyant, you know, your claircognizance, like strengthening those gifts, right? There's ways and meditations you can search up in order to help strengthen that as well. Also, if you like divination, you're getting into divination, right? And you always wanted to get into that, right? Like tarot or runes, or it could be anything, scrying, you know, different forms of divination. Do your research, but also like go ahead and try something new, even if it may seem scary and you may not understand it, and there possibly is people who don't agree with it, especially within your vicinity, if you are dealing with that. If not, then kudos. But if you are, and you are dealing with people who don't agree with that, then find ways where you can practice and dive into it, in ways where you're being your authentic self, like whether if you have to separate yourself or do it in like not within the household but in a different location outside, or like different areas, because I'm not for hiding yourself or keeping secrets. Like I'm all for like, if you like something and something that brings you joy, you shouldn't feel ashamed to really proudly outwardly say like that is something I love, that's something I enjoy, that's something that I'm passionate about. And the thing is that there's a lot of people right now who are okay, this is side note. I know this is probably going to take a while for this video, but there's people who are dealing with a lot of like mental health aspects and beating themselves up right now in the head mentally, like people who don't deserve, like feel like they don't deserve love, people who feel like they don't deserve like the good things in life or the good things that life has to offer. Because I relate to this, like I dealt with mental health most of my life, okay, which is why I'm quite passionate about it when I speak of it. But right now people are dealing with like beating themselves up mentally and like feeling afraid to show their true selves in a way. And like I get it, I really do. I feel like we all fall in this line, like we all have our own masks that we typically wear, and it's kind of weird and funny. It's not funny, but it's kind of weird that like it manifested itself into an actual thing now that people are wearing masks and shit. But I won't go into that. But the thing is like people, there's some people who have like are brave enough to start being their authentic self and remove the mask. There's people who are in that stage where they're like taking it off at night, but wear it through the day. And then there's others that like are just literally keeping it on every 20, just keeping it on all the time. So it's about releasing that control and just being yourself. And if you like to dive into stuff like that that people typically won't agree with or kind of shit on you for, I want to talk to those people specifically. Fuck them. It's okay, I'm sorry, but like even if it's your family or if it's a friend or whatever, fuck them, okay? And with much love, all right? With much love is what I'm trying to say. All right, I'm not trying to get you angry or whatever. But the thing is like sometimes when it comes to, you have to know the difference between doing things that are like in a benefit and being happy for yourself versus doing things for others. Now, if you're doing things to benefit others, and only others and not worrying about yourself, then there's an unbalance there. Now, if you're doing things just in spite of self and just thinking of only in self and not of others whatsoever, there's an unbalance there, right? So Spirit's trying to get you to like look at your priorities right now and to really just focus on things that make you happy. And who cares what other people are saying to you? Like there will be naysayers and stuff like that, but it's also important to take into consideration what that person is telling you, even if you may not agree with them, okay? It's important to at least listen and still receive, rather than to just reject, okay? And my hard-headed Aries ass, okay, can be very like, ooh, I don't tell me shit, you know, I know. It's like, even if you're, especially talking to older souls, there's still more things that you can learn within this life. We're not done learning, so it's important to still be open and still be open to receive, okay, those guidance, even if you may not receive it well, and you may not like want to go that path or whatever, that those naysayers or people who are supportive people, they're really great people, but they just give you really off guidance because they're going by off of their own fear-based mentality and ego mentality, okay? So okay, new neighbors, so but yeah, so the thing is like, if there's something that is like calling to you, right, your soul, especially your soul, right, there's a lot of things that call to our mind, our heart, and whatever, but it's important to balance out mind, body, and soul, but I won't get into that. But if there's something that's calling to your soul, or there's like this little voice that's positive, it's not saying anything negative or any of that matter or beating you down, but it's telling you like, hey, you know, I kind of like this, and or I kind of want to try that looks really cool. Like for me, for example, I have so many goals in mind, but it's like one thing to say you have a goal, but it's another to actually go and take those actions towards those goals, okay? So it's like, knowing the difference between that. Now, I may be like throwing people's head all around right now because they're like, damn, like there's like you're giving me too many perspectives, but that's just how my brain works. Okay. My chart's crazy. But anywho, so the key line here that I'm trying to make is that when you follow your soul purpose and everything like that, and you follow the path that your soul is trying to take you, like for example, like I said, I want to try drifting, right? And this really struck me when I watched a movie not too long ago with my mother, and it was all about this girl, this young woman that liked drifting or liked cars, and she was into mechanics and stuff. And I was like, I'm not into the mechanic part, but I did take auto shop in high school, but that's about extension of what my hunch. Okay, anywho, so but I'm talking about like I want to learn how to drift, like Tokyo Drift style, like like I want to get an actual race car, go to a track, and actually learn how to drift. Like that's something like now it's totally random, right? Totally like people are like what? Now the thing is like it's not something I want to make a career out of, but it's something that I want to try like in this lifetime. Now anything that's on your bucket list and things that you want to try, even if it may not work out to your best interest, and maybe if it falls short, whatever, it's the fact that you tried and you got that experience, and you can at least say that you tried it, rather than someone who was afraid, who always wanted to try it but never like took that first step to try it. You know what I mean? So, and don't blame those people who are scared and don't take that first step, because everyone is at different paces, different levels, like different vibrations in life. So it's important to have compassion. So, and you know, things can change at any moment. Nothing is really set in stone. So there's some things, but there's like because there's some that's written in the stars, all right? But there's nothing really set in stone. But one thing for sure is that we can take from that is that we can learn something, whether you take action or not. Okay? So it's like that butterfly effect. Dolphins and whales always tie into the the Atlantis type of vibe, as well as like the underwater vibe. People are going through that stage, especially if you're connecting with sirens and mermaids, etc. People are getting more past life regression done, like especially Archangel Metatron is coming through. Hi. I did mention Archangel Sandalphon before within the previous video, but Archangel Metatron is coming through, which is the divine masculine energy, but coming through to help access the Akashic records and dive deep a little bit and get some more access as far as that goes. But yeah, so, and then of course, yeah, I always talk about butterflies represent the transformation phase, as well as the dark night of the soul that people are going through. You guys are going through the cocoon phase. It's painful, but you have to do it alone. No butterfly's gonna be in a cocoon with another butterfly, transforming. You're gonna have to be in that cocoon alone. Okay, so, but you'll make it through, alright? It may seem very dark and there's no way out, but there is always a way out. There's always an option, is what I'm trying to say. So symbolism that I've been connecting with are keys in particular, so to look out for that is keys. Now that ties into the trident synchronicities I've been receiving. Now Poseidon, okay, a lot of like energies coming through, like deities and goddesses and orishas, but thank you. So, but Poseidon is coming through, and I mentioned Poseidon within a previous video, right? But white butterfly. But this kind of goes into like I was saying, divine masculines connecting with Aquaman, as well as samurai energy and sword energy, getting the sword of truth from Archangel Michael. But it's also receiving the key, because they're diving really deep to the bottom of the ocean to get the key from, not Poseidon, but it was Atlan from Aquaman. So Atlan, yeah. And it was kind of like, we all know that trident kind of goes into the Poseidon energy, right? But the divine masculine was getting the keys for the people that they love, all right? The divine masculine was doing it not for selfish reasons, but for doing it for not only themselves, but for the betterment of humanity. And they were doing it for unconditional love reasons. Now that's a bonus point, right? They're doing it out of protection. Now, mind you, divine feminine energy could not go down deep with him. He had to do it alone. This is, I'm talking about Aquaman in particular. He had to go alone. And when he did receive and went through that, what was it called? Inauguration, if in a way, is what we would say. Kind of going through that phase of like seeing if you're worthy enough for the trident or to receive the keys. Yeah. So, like, they're saying right now, like, they're seeing if they're talking to their darker self. They're literally going through that shadow phase, and they're being one with their shadow. Like, they're literally integrating that, and that's really great. That's great news, actually. And they're receiving the trident right now from Atlan, and it's passed down from generation to generation as well. It's a bloodline type of thing. So that's why Ascended Divine Masculine, Ascended Masters are coming through, as well as Divine Feminine Ascended Masters, right? To pass down that key, that knowledge. Now, when he received the Triton, he also received fully all his powers, all his awakening, all his memories, everything. So by the time he came back up to the surface, he was a completely different person, completely different man. Total upgrade, okay? So, but he had to do it alone. And so right now, I feel like Divine Masculines are going through that, as well as Divine Feminines. You guys kind of went through your phase a little bit before the Divine Masculines. You went through that, so it's different processes, but it's kind of the same thing, but it's just different ways in how it happens. The Divine Masculine journey is completely different, all right? They have a completely different way of how they go about their awakening, etc. So, but there's something that you can learn from both of that, right? Especially when you're learning to integrate both. So I've been seeing a lot of ships that ties into ship synchronicity. Something's on the arrival, something's on the horizon, traveling, as well as anchor. So someone's setting foot, like something like that gives me that John Smith vibes, like from Pocahontas. Like that's funny, because she was trying to climb the tree for a higher perspective. She was talking to Grandmother Willow, and she climbed to the top of the tree to see from a higher perspective, and she's seen clouds. And I talked about this before, and how her perspective was clouds, but the actual thing was a ship. So there was something coming, but she could feel it, but she didn't know what it was. And that's why she was receiving a lot of compass synchronicities, okay, which is all about that true north notion and knowing your difference between your north and south. And yeah, so someone's making anchor. They're about to stay for something, like someone's coming inshore is what Spirit is saying. Nah. Okay. I'm joking with them right now, and the thing is I'm not going to say that out loud. No. Okay. Anywho, it's about that notion of connecting two complete different worlds together, right? So, especially two people if you're on the twin flame journey, you especially know this, like coming from complete different worlds. Like, say for instance, someone comes from the king of the north and then you're with the queen of the south, right? That type of thing. Or it's like king of winter and queen of spring. Oh, that kind of ties into like, what are those called? The Greek mythology. Persephone and Hades. Yeah, so it's kind of she was also goddess of the underworld as well as goddess of spring. So she was both. She was like, I'm balanced between both. As well as Hades was like, anywho, it gives me that Scorpion like vibe with the butterflies and stuff. But anywho, a lot of harp synchronicities, so it kind of ties into angels, angelic beings coming through right now, as well as Archangel Sandalphon, because he is the director of music as well. But the thing is like, if you're connecting with music in particular is healing for the soul, depending on the music. Now, be aware of what media and different types of things that you're hearing within your ear chakras, right? Be very careful, be very mindful when it comes to music and media. And to make sure that you are really seeking not just on surface level, but diving deeper than what you're just being shown physically on the surface, because I keep in mind that 2D, which is social media, and the internet can be quite illusionment and fear-based sometimes. So just be very mindful of what you're intaking as far as like ear chakra wise, what you're listening to, what you're reading, and everything. So because that also affects your vibration as well. I've been connecting with Christmas in July. Now, that's okay. This kind of ties into the North and South thing. Now, especially with that North and South notion, especially if you're in Australia, right, or the land down below, like New Zealand, etc., like down yonder is what they would call it. But the thing is like, say for instance, it can be completely like it's going into summer up here in the northern hemisphere, but if you have like a twin that's connecting, or notion that they live down south of the equator, then they're going through winter phase and they're going through winter. So it's like that notion of being king of like the north and queen of the south, that type of thing, but vice versa. I kind of want to dive in deeper what that means in particular, but Spirit sometimes gives me a door when it's locked. So in this, a lot of people, mediums and people who channel and people who do divination, they can relate to this in particular. Sometimes you hit like a brick wall or a door where it's like you have no access to it. So sometimes I can get to it, I'm like right there, but then Spirit's like, yeah, nope, you can't access that just yet. That's not to be accessed yet. So right now, it's that ties into that compass synchronicity as well. But the Christmas in July, like there's something, like right now, if it's summer here, then they're experiencing like their own little wintry Christmas down south, right? You know what I mean? So people are thinking that Christmas only happens in December, but Christmas can technically happen in July, and it can actually happen within the summertime as well, technically, because you have to keep in mind of the hemisphere, and so it's just like, okay. There's a celebration going on, is what I'm saying. There's going to be presents and gifts in July, or this kind of ties into what the Leo season I was talking about, the 8/8 portal as well, Lionsgate, and also Cancer season, something to do with the Cancer season as well. Yeah, okay. So hidden treasures and stuff like that, so be on the lookout for that. Karmic rewards as well. Could be that something that's on the arrival. Anywho, a lot of flowers I've been connecting is tulips, a lot of tulips, pink tulips in particular, red tulips, and yellow tulips. And then also connecting to wisteria, which is purple, white, and purple and white particular. Dandelions, which is making that wish energy as well, any wishes coming true. And lotuses, which represents that mud phase. People are going through that harsh phase of going underneath the mud and then coming and blooming out to the beautiful lotus that they're meant to be right now. So you guys are going, it kind of ties into that dark night of the soul notion, right? So so dandelions, about that wish energy. People see them as weeds, right? But it just depends on your perspective, right? Sometimes I see some weeds as flowers. So, and then wisteria ties into this wedding-like energy that I keep getting. I don't know why, but a lot of people like to use wisteria within their weddings and stuff like that. It's supposed to make this fairy tale-like wedding-like scene, and it's back. Oh my God, Sleeping Beauty. Okay, so this is a joke. Okay, the thing is like, I relate to Sleeping Beauty. I value sleep. In fact, like, sleep is my best friend, and I'm always sleepy, like always sleepy. I always want sleep, and my sleep schedule is just ugh. But the thing is that I'm working on creating a ritual, like a sleep ritual, in order to help benefit that, in order to get that in track. But people who know me know that I struggle with sleep the most. And the Sleeping Beauty notion, it kind of ties into that kiss of death, or like, not the kiss of death, well, that ties into that, but also the true love's kiss factor. So there's something having to do with the kiss to awaken type of thing. That kind of ties also to the Snow White synchronicity. So someone being on a spell, or someone like curse. Not a curse, but someone just needing to wake up from the matrix. White butterfly. So it's needing to wake up into a brand new world, to see from a different pair of eyes. So now, this doesn't mean it has to tie to that old fairy tale of a prince coming to kiss a princess. It can also represent a princess going to kiss a prince to wake the prince up, right? It can be vice versa. It doesn't matter of the gender. Because we need to challenge like social norms, etc. But this ties into the Mars and Pisces energy, especially if you're feeling really sleepy and groggy and just, you're having really vivid dreams right now. Like, you're just like, what the fuck? Like, what is that? Like, what does that mean? Like, okay. Especially if you're someone who never really dreamed before, but then you're dreaming more often. Don't be afraid. Okay, that's just like spirit and the 4D kind of making itself known. Like, and plus, we always talk about the thin is getting thinner, the veil is getting thinner, that type of thing. It's always thin, but there's times where it's like easier to walk through. You know what I mean? So it's just, right now, manifestation game is getting a lot faster. It feels like time is speeding up. Like, days are going by quicker. So it's like that time is illusion type of thing. And things are speeding up real fast is what Spirit is saying. Like, that's probably, that also ties into the cheetah energy. Things are speeding up real fast. Probably faster than people would like it to, but it's They're saying Pleiadians. So if you have Pleiadian starseed system, you know what I'm talking about, especially if you come from Pleiad. Like, they are known for their system to be a little bit more faster and quicker. So they typically are more impatient beings, and they're just like, God, like, you know, Earth energy is so slow, but in Pleiadian system, like, it's a little bit faster. The days go by quicker. So it's like that notion where Earth, it's like it's ascending, right? As more that we consciously ascend, the more that the earth ascends with us, right? Everything's connected. So when the more that the earth, Mother Gaia is ascending right now, consciously and everything wise, physically wise, that also affects us as well. Okay, so right now, like, the Pleiades star system, they're saying like it's starting to like speed up a little bit. So people who are so especially fire signs, right? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, people who connect with being fast, like, this is more about in your element. But if you, it's kind of challenging, especially when you have other elements to take into consideration, because it's all connected as well. But that water energy is going to help calm us down. That ice energy is going to help balance that out, okay? Because too much fire is too much destruction. But to counterpart it is with that ice light factor. So that kind of goes in, like, if you guys seen the Chinese movie on Netflix, Neja, it's it's a cartoon, like, animated like movie, and it's about the difference between the fire dragon and the ice dragon, and they are considered twin flames, even though there's no romantic type of thing in it. Mind you, twin flames can be both platonic and romantic, in my opinion. I don't think it always has to be romantic, but however, it most times it is. But the thing is like with this one, it was a great depiction of the fact that of complete opposites, yet they complete one another. And the thing is that you complete yourself. You're two whole beings. But the thing is that when you come together, it creates harmony and balance. It's like that yin and yang factor. So fire and ice, and then it kind of ties into my favorite poem, which is Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. So yeah, okay. So okay. Now, I think I've mentioned as much as I could right now. I'm going to go ahead and end this off pretty soon. I think that I need to. Hold on. Okay, so they're telling me to close out this book right now, and they want me to. Today is a little bit more of a working on oneself energy right now. So, like I said, shadow work is very important within this journey. It's important not to neglect the shadow work aspect. And what I mean by that is to really get to the root cause of your pain, the root cause of why you are the way that you are, the root cause of why you react the way that you do, especially to certain situations that you deem as negative, right? Now, if you're doing shadow work, you won't really see it as much as negative or positive. You just see it as is. Things are neutral, right? It's like that notion of life's not happening to you, it's happening around you. It's all about how you respond to it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull from the Heal Yourself Oracle. And a seagull, seagull. I hope I'm saying, I always butcher names, I swear, I'm so sorry. So the first card to pop out on the ground was this Shinto-like shrine, but also can be, I get more Shintoism, but this can also represent Chinese as well. So I've been connecting a lot with, again, I just mentioned Neja, right? Chinese old tales. But I've been connecting with ancient love stories as well. So this kind of ties into past life. If you guys are connecting to past life, to China or Japan or any type of like Buddhist, like Shinto, like countries, that's another tie. Or it could be like prevalent to now or within your ancestral lineage. But 18, say what you mean what you say is what I always say with this one. So be open to be receptive to hearing the other person's story or perspective rather than to only hear your own. As well as to mean what you say, like being able to speak your truth and not being afraid to do so. Whether if someone rejects it or not, right? Because I'm getting rejection issues coming up to the surface right now in order to be addressed. This also ties into the fact that you guys are walking through a portal, through a gateway. You guys are walking through a completely different world right now together as well. And mind you, I've seen the Divine Feminine's a little bit ahead of the Divine Masculine. The Divine Masculine's right behind you. You are perceiving that possibly they're like completely in a different world, like in a different portal. But no, they are right behind you, sweetie. So you just have to look back, okay? Instead of just, this ties for me because I'm like, I have no... Okay, tell me if you relate to this. I have intuition, right? But one thing that spirit will always block for me is if when it comes to like romance. So like it's kind of like that notion of like the illusionment, like thinking that if you do, like no one likes me, no one has a crush on me, no one has their eyes on me, but typically they do. Obviously this person is watching you, right? But you don't notice that. But the thing is like it's like that feeling of you feel like you're being watched, but you don't know who it is, that type of thing. And if you do know who it is, then it's just kind of that notion of believing that this is real, right? Rather than thinking it's an illusion or that it's all in your mind. I don't know why spirit's saying that to me. Because mind you, I read the cards intuitively. I don't read it how the cards are. But the thing is like ooh, you see that sword that he's connecting with and the knightly, like, oh my god, you see, this is what I meant. Divine masculines are getting that key and they're connecting with the sword of truth, being able to speak their truth. Right now, they're a little bit hesitant. I see this right now. They're watching you, but they're a little bit hesitant to speak up right now. So their throat chakra is being very heavily affected, of course. Right? But the thing is like, it's like that notion of like being, see from a different perspective, like turn around, that type of thing. So it's like, is what I'm saying is like spirit likes to block me romantically. Like I have no clue. I've always been this way. I have no clue when someone has any romantic feelings for me as far as like crush wise. Like I'll feel a vibe, but then it's like, nah, they can't possibly. It's just like that. It's like you refusing to listen to your intuition, divine feminines, okay, as well as divine masculines too. So be honest with yourself, right? Be authentic with yourself, especially your feelings and your emotions and the way you're thinking. It's like take a step back and kind of like address that and see what your intuition, your higher self is trying to tell you. Also, I'm saying that divine masculines are connected with the color red, which is that root chakra, grounding this energy and wanting to work to manifest this into the 3D right now. So they're working behind the scenes, especially since they're behind you. They're working behind the scenes. I'm also saying that there's some snow in the background. Remember when I said King of the North? Okay. All right. So, number 29, discover your life purpose. Oh my god, I mentioned a violin before too. Guys, all right, listen. Again, with the snow in the mountains, like King of the North, right down here, I'm seeing things it's more of a waterfall, more luscious type of thing. So, I feel like I don't know, you're more in the divine feminine territory in my opinion, more like a spring territory. But also the water, remember I mentioned water being cleansing and purifying in some sort. Also divine masculines are connecting with music, right? They're transmuting their pain into some more creative endeavors, or they're writing music about you, writing songs, poetry about you, etc. Divine feminine, but they're also channeling. They use this as a source of channeling as well, like you know how we use divination, like our cards and stuff, like our cards, we use this for divination to channel. Well, divine masculines use their instruments and their music to channel, because you see spirit is right behind you. I see a bunch of spirit right here. So there's their ancestors, their Starseed family, their spirit guides that are helping them to send this message, to convey this message, to bring it forth towards you, to help translate it for you. Okay, so it's like that notion. And again, you guys are connecting with the color red. Red is a very significant color. It's that root chakra, as well as grounding one into the physical, grounding yourself, grounding your energy, grounding, making sure that you're balanced, etc., creating firm foundations, as well as that passionate like energy as well, because I did make mention of like, you know, the color red and what that means. And you know, it's like you guys are connecting with this color right now. It's kind of similar to like my channeled art that I did. I made sure that I draped them in a red drape because that's something significant. So I feel like that's coming out right now. So pay attention to what you're hearing, right? And 29, which reduces to 11. So that's a significant number, okay? And then 18 reduces to a 9, which is a karmic cycle being completed right now, or need to be completed, or on the verge of being completed, like going to that point. So discovering your life purpose means like being able to, like I said, take a step back, doing things that make you happy. Like right now, divine masculines are connecting with music, but right now, divine feminines, I see that you guys are listening, you're being more attentive. You guys are kind of guarded right now. You see how she's holding herself like this? Typically, when I see people's body posture like this or holding this, because I do it too. But the thing is, like, it's like you kind of, it's like this notion of closing yourself off. Like you're guarded. It's like yeah, I'm open, but I'm also protected. Like I'm also guarded. Like I'm not putting things all out on the line, like on the table. So it's like that notion right now. And I feel like divine masculines are It's so funny. Oh my gosh, they're telling me to mention the fact that the divine masculine is looking at the divine feminine, right? Now, it doesn't matter the gender, right? Vice versa, okay? This also represents the divine feminine as well. But the thing is like, the divine feminine is looking at the divine masculine. So it's so funny. You see this shit? So it's like, you guys are mirroring one another. You guys are looking at one another, but you guys are kind of like, it's like that. Like that side eye type of look, like, I'm feeling you, but you know, it's like that still guarded notion. You know, it's like that. So, Spirit is saying right now, for the divine feminine, divine masculine, well, the divine masculines definitely are working towards coming towards you for sure, or working behind the scenes, etc., in their own timing, in their own divine timing. But divine feminines, now it's time to really like start focusing on your life purpose. Like, continue, especially if you have been, good job. But if you haven't, you feel like you haven't found your life purpose, you don't find it, you create it. Okay, little tip. So meaning you can start something at any time and you can stop at any time. Like, you are the narrator of your own story, you are the creator of your own story. So write how you see fit. Okay, if something doesn't work out with you and it doesn't work as planned, then move on to the next. Okay, so but I'm not saying like, I'm talking about creative endeavors, right? Don't be like, be a player, like, but hey, there's things that you can learn from that realm, I guess, but I'm not really for karmic energies or lower vibrational energy, like ways of doing things, okay? I'm kind of past that notion, and a lot of divine feminine should be at that point, but you know, everybody's on different parts of the journey, okay? So you guys are literally discovering your life purpose. You guys are focusing on your career, possibly, and your goals and things outside of this connection, and getting things ready, like, you know, being prepared for not only yourself, right, but also like if this connection, like when this connection, when this connection falls through. Okay, so because once you believe it, then you know it'll become true, that type of notion. So believe in yourself, believe it. It's like that Naruto. Oh my god, Naruto's twin flame would be considered, his divine feminine would be Hinata, right? Hinata used to look at him and stare at him from afar. Oh my god, this ties into the cards. But the thing is like, you guys, like, it's so weird. Okay, especially when you're on the twin flame journey, you know that you deal with any like other karmic energies outside of the thing, right? But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about third parties or any of that matter. We know about that and everything like that, but I'm just talking about the fact that there are times like where you're looking, like Hinata would look at Naruto and just would marvel at him and just would gush at him, but he never really noticed. I mean, I think he did. I think he noticed, but he just didn't really acknowledge it, or didn't want to acknowledge it, because his focus was more on karmic energy, more on like, you know, Sakura or like different other karmic energy as well. But Hinata never stopped loving him regardless, right? So there was this movie in Notion where she made this red scarf, or was working on a scarf in particular, and that kind of represents the red string of fate. So that is talking about the red cloth that I'm referring to. The red draping is the red string of fate, that it connects both the souls together once. And this ties into also the Chinese and Japanese, because it ties into that notion. It is a part of that red string of fate, where it connects a person's, like the divine masculine's thumb to the divine feminine's pinky, right? Because it's a love that's supposed to last eternity, and it's supposed to last through many lifetimes. So it's like a connection that can never be broken, even if you guys like go separate directions and go separate routes and choose karmics for certain lifetimes. You guys will always find a way to come back together. It's like that notion of like a magnet, you know. But it's a bond that can never be broken, is what Spirit is saying. And the fact is like that Naruto, they're mentioning that because Naruto his focus would be on other karmic things, you know, besides love at that point. So it took a while for him to finally like choose love over, you know, everything else, right? But divine feminine Hinata never really gave up her love, even if it was like her through the separation, through that physical separation time, right? Because you're never really actually separated. So once he was finally able to acknowledge her feelings, etc., and the love that they shared and everything like that, like it was more so he became more of into his person, into himself. But it took for him to be on his separate journey to learn for himself. It took for him to, you know, be knocked over a couple of times in order to learn that that's not what I want. You know, you got to dive in and experience things, even if it's something that doesn't turn out in your favor and it's not typically something that you would want, like that's something that came out, like blew up, like that just went to smithereens. You wouldn't know what you don't want unless you actually went through it. So you kind of have to like go through it in order to know if you like it or not, you know, whether you accept that type of behavior or not. And the divine feminine Hinata finally grew some cojones, or like put her tits in check, but basically, and was just like, you know, she set firm boundaries after a certain point. She was honest with herself, and there was no more hiding at that point, because she was wearing a mask too, to a certain degree, as well as Naruto was focused on, you know, his mask and him not being accepted and him dealing with his own childhood issues and stuff like that, for him being different and gifted and everything. So the divine masculine, they are gifted just as much as the divine feminine energy is. And you guys were probably ostracized and made fun of within your childhood, and probably went through some pretty fucked up shit, okay? Not gonna lie. Within this journey, but that's how you learn, okay? And that's how you were able to learn that that's something that you don't want to tolerate. That's not something you deserve, okay? You deserve love, you deserve loyalty, you deserve time and commitment and compassion, and you deserve time, you deserve trust, you know, all those things that come, respect that comes with a higher dimensional type of love. So it's like that notion of believing that you guys both deserve that, and you guys can find that not only within each other but within yourself, okay? It's important to find that within yourself first. So it's important to fall in love with yourself as much as someone else falling in love with you. It's like a double whammy, you know, that type of thing. So it also helps to teach that future partner or the twin flame or soulmate, whoever it may be, on how to treat you, okay? So the music turned off, so they're saying it's time to go. Okay, so but they're saying, like, it's not about what's right or wrong. It's about taking the accountability. Once you're able to take accountability with not only yourself, but it's time to really start taking action towards making that change. And it starts with forgiveness, of especially forgiving yourself, and first and foremost. And to try to stay as present as you can. You know, try to focus on the gifts presently that you have within your life. Whether you're in physical separation or not, it's important to be grateful for anything that you may have. And the thing is that the physical separation is only an illusion, right? And this is definitely for my twin flames, for sure. Like, they really want to talk about this emphasis, for sure. And it's like that 11-11 notion. You guys are coming into union with oneself, with spirit, and with, you know, your counterpart. So it's important, right? So anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and end this off. This is really long. I know this is quite a long time, but I really wanted to just kind of like really be open and kind of see what Spirit wanted to talk about recently, and just, you know, kind of take into consideration what's been shown. If it resonates, then let me know in the comments below, as well as like and subscribe and turn on your notification bell as well. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you so much for the support and love and the guidance that you guys continue to share me, as well as like, I'm just really, really grateful for right now to be able to like share certain aspects of this with you guys, as well as like being a little bit more vulnerable and kind of like peeling off the layers myself even more, right? So it's like the notion of growth. I like seeing other people grow, and I just like the growth process and the transformation process, even though I know that underlining that it was really hard and that there's a lot that it takes to get there to be your fullest potential, right? That's what a lot of people are trying to get to, their highest potential, right? Some people don't even get to it, but it's okay. But it's like that notion of like not taking life for granted, being grateful for it, and just being grateful. I'm really grateful for the fact that, you know, it takes a lot for me to say this, but because, oh my gosh, I struggled with suicidality as well in the past, and I'm kind of getting sweaty right now. But I'm truly grateful right now to be alive, to be able to share this right now, to be here presently, right now, to be able to speak this outwardly. And as much as it's hard, it is for me to be vulnerable, it really is. Oh my gosh, it's hard for me to be in the Queen of Cups mode. But I'm working on it, just like anybody else is working on, you know, certain things that they, you know, we're here to do, to set out to do. So don't be so hard on yourself. Be easier on yourself. Everybody's learning at different paces. We all have something to learn, so we're not all perfect, okay? And Spirit's not expecting perfectionism. I will always say that. So much love to you guys. I shall see you guys in my next video. Peace to you, and Love ya.